Okay, so starting bright and early. Welcome everyone again to our Business Leader webinar series. It's a pleasure to have you all join us from all around the world. My name is Aramide. I'm the convener of the Niger Startups Business Leader Network, which is a network that convenes business leaders, essentially, both professionals and entrepreneurs and even policymakers across Africa and the diaspora, for access to opportunities, capacity building like this, peer mentorship, and high profile networking. So many of our members have benefited from so many opportunities. In fact, I just got a message from someone today that she's got a job offer from something we shared on the platform. So it's a vibrant community. I know many of us can testify to that, but I'm not talking about Niger startups today. Today, we're hosting our very special guest speaker who has been so gracious, like I was mentioning before, to take us on a session on AI with marketing, especially in this day and age. But he's actually speaking from his car because he's convening another event. So we're super grateful for the sacrifice, Mr. Maurice Igugu. I'll just introduce him. He's the Chief Marketing Officer at Sterling Bank, where he leads transformative marketing initiatives at the intersection of brand strategy, digital innovation, and AI. With over 14 years of cross functional expertise spanning advertising, product development, and growth marketing, he's recognized for driving purpose driven narratives that unlock business value and deepen customer engagement. A respected authority in the marketing industry, Morris has served as a jury member for WARC Awards and the Picture Festival of Creativity and contributes to shaping industry standards as a board executive at Advan, which is where he's organizing an event today. He's the creator of Naya, an AI-powered chatbot redefining customer experience in banking, and a champion of inclusive digital platforms that promote financial access across Nigeria. Through his speaking, writing, and thought leadership, Morris advances conversations on the future of marketing, the creative potential of AI, and the role of localized innovation in shaping Africa's digital economy. Can we please give him a round of applause as we welcome him on this evening? You're very welcome, Morris. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And please confirm it moved, right? Just want to be sure you're seeing the right screen.
Yes, we can see a graph. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you very much. I will go ahead and just present maybe in 20 minutes or so, and then we'll take a lot of questions. I think the questions are the most important part because we've all heard about AI, right? Um, the topic around AI is something that's sort of everywhere now. Everyone's talking about AI. And I kind of compare it with a general purpose technology like electricity. I can imagine how it felt when electricity was first discovered. It must have been a talk of town for a while. The power of electricity, what it could do, and all of that. But after a while, electricity itself, the technology, sort of goes into the background. It's not something you talk about anymore. It's a given, something you take for granted. You expect power to be there for you to do what you need to do. And I think that at some point, that's exactly what AI is going to look like. It's not, we're talking about it now because it's sort of new. And when I say new, there's always been AI, there's always been artificial intelligence, but the fact that it's been democratized is what everyone's talking about. The fact that everyone can have a feel of what it looks like and how it can affect your life, transform your work, make you work better, smarter. And I think that's what everyone's talking about and the possibility and potential that it has. Um, Eventually, it's going to get to a point where AI is not going to mention a lot, but you talk about the benefits and the things that it helps you achieve. All right, so when it comes to marketing, I'll just like to paint what's possible, and then we will get into the questions in detail. So there are three basic areas I want to talk on, which is number one, how AI is affecting strategy, marketing strategy. Number two, how AI is affecting creativity. And number three, how AI is affecting customer connections. All right. So first of all, establishing the fact that it's an imperative, it's not a it's not something that's conditional for marketers at this moment. It's sort of you either jump in or probably lose out at the end of the day. You can see what it looks like. It's been I mean different resources and different sort of research have shown that it's about 78.8 billion. That's the revenue. That's the value AI is going to put on the table by 2030. And you can see the growth rate, how much value this is. Some research will tell it's about 83 billion by 2030. Right. And this is huge. And I don't know, whatever sector, whatever area you're playing in, this is basically marketing alone. Right. And if this value is on the table, the question I think we should be asking ourselves is, how much of it can I put my hands on? Or if you like, how much of this can I bring to my business? How much value can AI, how much value can AI bring to my business in terms of uplifting what marketing role that I currently play? Now, 90% of marketers expect AI to play a significant role in the future of marketing, and it's already beginning to play. So we're going to look at a few of them. First of all, defining strategy. Strategy is an important aspect of AI, of marketing. And before we start, strategy lays the plan. It tells exactly how you want to go about your marketing plan. But how's AI affecting it? There's a significant shift from a um, reactive method of marketing to a proactive method of marketing. And I'll say that AI is really, as much as it's a tool, it's actually a mindset shift. It's a shift in your mind from what you used to do and what you've always been able to do, to something radically different. And I'll talk about that, this proactive nature of what is capable of achieving for us. All right. Think about it. Back in the day, you want to come out, even till now, you want to come out with an advertising material because you definitely want to market your products. What do? You do your audience segmentation, and most of the audience segmentation you do is kind of static audience because it's predefined by some strategy someone did maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and so you kind of segment your audience in that way. And you carry out what I call spray and pray. So all of your ads, you shoot them out into the public like someone who's casting his net into the waters. And then you wait to see, will I get a bait? Will I get someone who's going to click on this? There's no way for you to tell what's going to happen till the results start coming in 2 weeks later. So you go back, and this, what I'm describing is sort of, digital advertising. So I'm not even talking about traditional advertising. So 2 weeks later, you go back to your dashboard and check what's really happening, or maybe a week later, and you see the movements, and then you take an action to decide, all right, looks like my Google ad is working, my Facebook ad is working, but Twitter isn't working. I need to do something about it. Now that's the reactive paradigm. Where we're going with AI in terms of strategy and development and deployment is proactive, which means it's possible for you to tell. You make faster decisions, smarter decisions, possible for you to even tell. There's a research, for example, that says AI forecasting models can predict campaign performance by up to 78% accuracy before a single dollar is spent. Now, I'm in a CMO conference, more or less, and the conversation is bordering around um, what are the CMOs, that's the chief marketing officers, actually contributing to the bottom line? What value are they bringing to the table? And when you talk to a lot of CMOs, marketing officials or marketing professionals, what they tell you 80% of the time they're talking about brand awareness. These are the metrics they mention: brand awareness, how we're generating a buzz, and people are looking at our social media page and they're liking it and they're engaging with it. And the question the CFO and the MD is going to be asking, your managing directors, how much of this is actually translating into coins? How much of this is translating into value? And if you can't tie that, it becomes a problem. And this is what AI is here to do for us. It will help you optimize your spend, predict what the spend will look like, and what value you will get, and you'll be able to tie directly to return on investments. So again, this proactive approach leads to potential 18% to 27% in cost savings in marketing budgets alone. Now let's talk about programmatic advertising as a single example. Now, if you want to carry out the programmatic advertising without campaign optimization using AI, you see the graph there shows you some sort of a picture of what you'll find. Now, what AI will do for you is optimize your auction time to the point where it almost personalizes or individualizes for the users. Now, for those who don't know what programmatic advertising is, well, it's an automated system. Usually what you do is a bid. You generally, if you want to do put out ads, you talk to those who are responsible for, hosting. Let me use a blog, for example. So let's say I want to advertise in a certain very popular blog. I'm going to talk to the person who owns the blog. We're going to negotiate price, talk about where we're going to put the ad and what time we're going to put it. All of this is pretty manual, but with programmatic, you set an automated system. It picks the right blog for the right person at the right time, even considering down to the person's mood, possibility of even reading into the person's mood before it serves the particular ads to the person. All right, so it's a way in which you use AI to implement and then when you introduce AI into the system, it even helps you augment it better, optimize it better, and then it's possible to even deliver very optimized, personalized ads to each person. Now, based on my browsing history, for example, I've been looking at ads that have to do with, let's say, a footwear. It's able to tell and it's able to serve me. So sometimes I'm sure you've seen situations where you say, I basically just talked about this to a friend. Why am I seeing it? Like the ads are following me everywhere. That's what programmatic advertising can do, because they can even listen to, I strongly believe that they can listen to your conversations even on WhatsApp, because remember, Facebook is all tied together. They can listen to your conversations on WhatsApp. That's the possibility. And then serve you ads that sort of are optimized to exactly what you're looking for. Again, brands like Rothy's have seen 60% growth in conversion alone and 59% growth in revenue using AI-powered ad solutions like Google Performance Max. All right, let's talk about creativity for a bit. Now, when it comes to creativity, I think this is one very strong area where every single person who's in the room here, you've touched, you've seen, you've felt this particular what AI has done. I'll give you a picture. Back in the day, what used to obtain. All right. So as an institution, an organization, I want to come out with a 2 minutes TVC. That's a TV commercial. The process that I will follow is literally going to take me nothing less than 2 to 3 months to be able to deliver that TVC. And I'm going to spend millions of naira. For example, in Nigeria, when we want to do TVCs back in the day, that's a few years back, 5, 6 years back. We'll talk to we'll look for someone in South Africa, because that's where we go to, who has the expertise, an art director. Then we're going to look for models, pay those models. Then we're going to start shooting, pay for location as well. And at the end of the day, having done all of this and spent millions of naira, millions of dollars, we come up with a 2 minutes TVC or TV commercial. We're not even certain or sure how the public is going to react to it. So we spent all this and we're not sure what it's going to look like or what the reaction would look like. And so you see why sometimes the CFOs and the MDs are looking at what we do as marketers and saying, I can't tie what you're doing to value to the organization. you know. But what AI has done for us when it comes to creativity is what I'll call the democratization process. It's basically made it available to every single person. Now, you'll find someone who takes an iPhone and maybe Canva, an iPhone, and some, AI app, does a 2 minute video, puts it out there, and someone who spent millions can't even get the kind of engagement that this influencer is getting. This person probably did a 5 minutes, used a 5 minutes, 5 minutes period to get this video out, but it's trending even better than what. So AI is making it possible for every single person to produce videos and then produce them at scale. So the question, therefore, people ask when it comes to AI and creativity is it going to take my job? So as a photographer, for example, I'm scared. There's Midjourney now, and Midjourney can generate the kind of images that I'll take, a whole day to plan for and then to shoot in my studio. There's people are literally, I can imagine that a lot of photographers, for example, who do not understand how to time AI to optimize what they do, I will begin to imagine the possibility of they'll never be needed anymore. All right. Now that's the conversation that most people have, and that's is photography alone. We can go into video production. We can get right now. I've done a couple of. We can even go into music, because I was talking to someone just recently about this band that most of you probably heard of that trended on Spotify. Nobody knew they were an AI band, but the music was top on Spotify for a while before people recognized this looks like AI, and the images were there, the faces of the band was there, the videos for the band was there, and nobody could tell, it till it, deep scrutiny was made. Now, where I'm going to is the fact that it's democratized now. Anyone can jump on it and anyone can get value from it. I don't need to spend a lot anymore to produce the kind of content. And this is the value that it brings to the table. So is it possible that a photographer is going to lose his job? The art director is going to lose his job? We're going to get to that point. But I think the most important aspect to mention here is the fact that what's changing is the role that we now play. What AI is doing is automating the very routine processes. So we need to rise in the value chain from the manual labor into actually directing AI to produce the kind of content. There's certain things AI can do as at this moment. It can read the contextual, cultural nuances. So that's where you come in. And that's how you can, bring value to the table when it comes to AI. So I don't think AI is going to take anyone's job. I think it's going to democratize it. I think it's going to make you do much more in terms of value. And I think it's just going to help you, optimize your processes. All right. So AI is affecting creativity as well. And then we'll come to customer connections. And this is where you talk about personalization. Now, at Sterling, we've always said this is Sterling Bank. That's where I work. And we've always talked about, we call ourselves the one customer, your one customer bank. And what that means for us is we're going to treat every single customer as if they were the only ones that the entire bank is servicing. So you will feel the weight of the entire bank on your matter. And that's what we believe, and that's what we've always said. This is way back before we ever heard anything about AI. But what AI does is makes it very possible. With high powered optimization, or if you like, high hyper personalization, it's very possible now with all the data points we have to talk to each individual in a way that they feel connected, they feel individualized. I talked about the spray and pray, which is the method we used to use. We push out ads in numbers and then just get them all out there and hope that someone's going to catch the fish. The net is going to catch some fish. But at this point, it's possible to narrow down to each individual, make them feel like they're the only ones you're talking to, make them feel like, you understand their history, understand them. And what this does eventually is that because each person feels that involved, they're going to engage with your advertising more. They're going to engage with your business more, and the likelihood of higher purchases will be there. And then we can look, for example, fast-growing organizations that use hyper-personalization get up to 40% more revenue than slower-growing competitors. And when it comes to emails, for example, if it comes to your email headlines, if you're able to optimize them to make them more personalized, you get as much as 26% more likely open emails. And you have a chance of raising up to 760% increase in email revenue. And this, I believe, is the power of AI when it comes to connecting with your customers. The chatbot we created, we call it Naya. You can find it in naya.com. Sorry, sterling.ng/Naya. It's a chatbot that basically it's still in its rudimentary stage. But it's a simple, you type and then it responds to you. What we noticed, for example, is people come heavy on the website searching for information. We have a search bar there. They type on that search bar, and then just like your Google search, it gives you a list of links that you need to start clicking on and reading through to find what you're looking for. But with a chatbot, it makes it easier. And that's customer connection, because all I need to do is ask it the specific question I want, and it gives me the specific answer. I can ask it in Pidgin, which is a local language. I can have, what we want to do now is even connect it to some voice channel where you can actually have voice connections. You can speak to it directly. And then imagine where we evolve this to the point where you can literally get your everything about your banking done using AI. So I can have a conversation. Please, would you want to transfer? If the security is guaranteed, please help me transfer money from 123 to this, from this bank account to that bank account, just with a voice prompt. It has a way of checking to find, maybe through your voice or whatever way, and then confirms and does the transfer for you without anything else. So we're not there yet, but that's where we can get to. And I think that AI is going to radically improve customer connections. But about churn as well. Churn is when a customer gets tired and decides, you know what, I want to leave. AI is able to predict churn, and then you're able to trigger, should I say, emails, for example, or communication to that customer, engage the customer just before they churn, and the likelihood that they'll stay increases dramatically. All right. Now, finally, the talk about AI will not be complete if you don't talk about ethics, because as much as AI is very powerful and it's going to help us improve marketing as marketers and make us improve our return on investments, make us able to measure it, we tie directly to value. The important thing is we need to understand the ethics behind it, because one misfire can cause a lot of trouble. It can probably erode some of, whatever gains you've made from AI at this point. All right, so the certain things you need to consider. Number one, data privacy, depending on the region you are in. You could either be controlled by the GDPR or the CCPA, or in Nigeria, the NDPR. You need to read it, be sure you understand it before you start implementing AI systems. Again, understand if you're implementing from source, the algorithmic biases. I can remember when we first started with Midjourney, and if you typed, first of all, because it was basically trained on Caucasian, data, it'll probably give you a white person instead of a black person, and you have to probably type African, black African like 3-4 times before it ever gives you any such image. And when it does, it's probably going to give you one with a Caucasian also in the middle, and that's the bias. But it's getting better now. It's much more improved. And then I recall as well that around the time that Midjourney came out, there was also a push by should I say, by some female folk who said, you know what, why is it always generating male models for me? And I heard there's this organization who decided to start its own female version of Midjourney. Now, I don't know how much that has gone, but it's improved over time. But the point I'm trying to establish is that The biases are there. They're in your training data. You need to watch out for it and ensure that those stereotypes are not encouraged. And obviously make sure that you stick to the ethics of proper advertising. All right. Now there are a few case studies here. I'll refer you to Zilly.ai. That's a powerful tool for advertising. I'm sure that if you go look, check it out, you'll see how much value that can bring to your table. And future is now. Like I said, AI is not a tool as much as it's a fundamental shift in your mindset. Um, if you begin to understand the fact that um, uh, a couple of art directors, a couple of advertising people still struggle with this fact that they want to be in charge and they want to be the ones using their intuition to determine what kind of ads are put out there. What AI is saying, what we're saying with AI is let your data tell what kind of ads you put there. Whether it's through A/B testing or multivariate testing, you need to be able to put your ads there and let the people, let the system, let data itself judge how much. With programmatic advertising, for example, if I push my ads out, I need the system to be able to automatically optimize based on the what ads people are reacting to the best, rather than someone sitting down and saying, I like the lady with the purple dress and that's what I want to push out. Okay, so that mind shift is what's very necessary at this moment. All right, so at this point, I will take questions and I hope that you got something out of that.
Thank you very much, Maurice. That was really insightful. I'm sure there's tons of questions from different people. If you have a question, you want to raise your hand and we could just unmute you. Please ask your questions. So let's kick off question time.
Hey,
Or you can put in the chat if you're shy. Okay, so maybe I can go first while other people are warming up. Never really used Mid-Journey. What is that? I've heard so much about it. There's tools I use every day, AI wise, and then images, text, and insights. But in terms of video and other things, haven't really used Mid-Journey. So can you please tell us? Because I know you mentioned it a few times during your presentation. What is it and what does it do?
Mid-Journey is a text to image and now text to video AI tool. So basically, with very basic English prompt, you can create the kind of images, advertising images that you want. And now you can even turn those images to video. All right. So that's basically what Midjourney is. You have a lot of counterparts for Midjourney. I mean, other apps that also do the same thing that Midjourney does, but Midjourney seems to stand out for me, and that's why I mentioned them.
Okay, great. Thank you. We have a hand up from Shola. Shola, please go ahead.
Thank you very much for this session. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you very much for this session. It's quite insightful. As always, the more you hear about AI, the more you realize there is so much more to learn. And that light, I'm a person given to structures, models. How would you, if I want if I don't want to be left behind on this AI movement, um, how would you advise me to approach it in a structured manner? I'm not necessarily into marketing, but it's impacting all areas. So there should be a structured model and approach to it somehow. I know Aramide just asked the question, she's not using a journey, but I know she's a heavy user of AI. How do we ensure that we have our fingers on the pulse always? Because you read up, you stay current, 2 weeks goes by without you paying attention. Guess what? You don't even know what out there anymore. They're calling you that you never heard of it. How do you
Mm.
make it practically stay on top?
All right. So again, I'll say that some people think it's a shiny, fancy tool, and to them it will be. Um, two ways I'll answer that. Number one, or 2 pointers. Number one, whatever you do, whatever it is that you're currently doing for a living or for fun or whatever it is, um, you need to figure out, first of all, um, how can AI help me do that better? Now, and that's on a personal level now. Organizational level, that's a different thing. I'll probably speak to that. But on a personal level, how can AI help me do what I do now better? So let's just, give a simple example of someone who writes. So I write novels. Okay. How can AI help me write better? How can it help me write faster? So if it takes me 1 year to publish a book, is it possible that I can now publish um, what's in my head in 2 months? And then what tools do I need to help me do that? I think if you ask those right questions, you will find the right tools that you need, and they will be of value to you from the onset. But if you listen to fancy stories of, for example, if I talk about Midjourney, you may never need to use Midjourney in the course of your job. Okay. And so there's no need to play around with it. Just find the exact tool that helps optimize your current workflow. Um, Obviously, when it comes to these conversations, it's deep. I could start talking about agentic workflows, for example, that help you, it basically just gets the work done while you do whatever you can, there's a saying that where we're going to is a situation where I'm going to have a lot of free time, but what am I going to use my free time to do? I probably now need it, you know, um, to do more strategic work, the thinking that AI cannot do, and the planning that AI cannot do. But for the repetitive jobs, I think we can get AI to do all of that. Now, I don't know if I've answered your question adequately. You could speak up. I actually like to hear from you. What do you do you get what I said?
Yeah, and I think the most powerful thing you said is just do it. Make sure you get to use AI in whatever you're doing right now. There's a tool somewhere, there's somebody who's done something, there's somebody who's put something together. Find it and use it in whatever it is you're doing. So I get that and I appreciate that, and it's something I can do today.
To find the right tools that optimize your current job, stick to those tools. And by sticking to them, you will follow the updates as they come. But because you're not running around looking for the fancy AI tools that everyone's talking about, you will be able to stick, you'll be able to, you have to get to a point where it's not necessarily a tool anymore, if a tool anymore in your hands, but more it's an enhancer. It just helps you get the job done and you move on. It's almost like what I said about electricity. You don't really think about electricity, right? It's a given. It should be there. So you need to get to that point. I think I was chatting with Aramide, for example, this just before the session started, and she was talking about ChatGPT and how she wants to write an email. It just makes it so easy for her to do. And I think that's the thing.
Or sometimes to reply an aunt, you're in the middle of work and you don't want to delay, but you want to say something, not just, and so I asked, okay, how can I respond to this? It makes me a bit lazy, I have to admit, but I'm quite efficient these days. Thank you. Thanks, Jola, for the questions. Any other questions? We'd love to hear from someone else, one or two people, and maybe a marketing person. I see Shola here. I think Candy was on before, but any marketing people, any questions, insights? Tommy, questions? If you raise your hand, we can unmute you if you're struggling to unmute. Richard, Ayo, Tolagwe. None from my end. Okay. Any more questions? Thank you for your time. Kindly share your slides. Are you able to share your slides? Is that something that is possible?
Yeah, definitely. I'll share them with you.
Okay, so we'll circulate that to the mailing list for sure and to the general community. Question from Toyin. We also have a curator here. I wonder if she has a question as well. Toyin, I'm gonna let you unmute yourself. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Hi, Maurice. I came late, so you would forgive me, but when I came in, you were you were illustrating using your voice to make a transfer, and I just thought, ha, where are we going? Where are we headed? So my question is around security concerns. What exactly? Because that's a really scary prospect. So I'm wondering, how, and this is asking as if you were an AI researcher, how would we be able to verify and ensure that nothing can tamper with that? Because right now, all you need is 10 seconds of someone's voice and you can generate a whole conversation. So within the limit of that application, the chatbots, like I said, I came late, so forgive me if you had touched on that, but how would we be confident enough to use it? Yes, that's my question.
Okay, so again, it's just I do a lot of writing on LinkedIn, tell stories of what's possible, but they're mostly imaginative stories. For example, I've told the story of how AI can be used to solve the headsman and farmer issue in Nigeria. So it's imaginative. Now, when it comes to this technology, I think that there are two technologies to consider in terms of radical safety. We are not quite there yet, but one of them is blockchain technology. Um, what it does is that it secures, it ensures that your transactions are perfectly secure because they cannot be replicated. What cannot be replicated in quotes, but largely so. So it's a much secure system than what we currently have. I believe that once that's onboarded, and a lot of banks are beginning to consider possibility of using blockchain in some of the transactions. So that's, I know when we say blockchain, a lot of people think cryptocurrency, but that's just one expression of it. That's one. Number two is what I will call quantum computers. Now, with quantum computers, it even takes it a level higher. Now, some of these things I can't explain in detail because of the time that we have, but overall, these technologies tend to secure conversations on whatever it is, transactions that are made online, conversations. They tend to help to secure, all right, and high security level. I'm just mentioning it because, like I said, I do a lot of imaginative writing. I strongly believe that it's possible that with your voice prompts, at some point, even beyond that, if you think of what Elon Musk is doing with the brain implant and all of that, perhaps we'll get to the point where we can even use thoughts to transfer funds. So you don't have to say it out. You think it, your system processes it, maybe asks you a couple of questions that you have to answer again using your brain, using your thought. It authenticates and it goes ahead and does the transfer. So again, that's very futuristic and imaginative, but that's what some of these technologies give us in terms of possibility. Remember, it's about convenience. What's more convenient for the user? But
Okay.
security will definitely be guaranteed.
Okay. Worrying, but we hear you. Moving my money under the bed, someone says. I can, I agree. In this day and age, I saw an app today that allows you to identify when a fake, sort of deep fake has been created. There's a layer that they use to help you verify. So there's all sorts of things. So I imagine that as AI is advancing, also sort of counter and cybersecurity continues to advance, but it's really leapfrogging and advancing exponentially. So yeah, everyone is worried. But yeah, any more questions? Linda, Auntie Yang, Timmy. Let me see, look in the chat box. Yeah. Okay. Did
So
you
the
have a
couple of
final thought?
yeah, I just want to speak to a few more tools that I use, and you can play around with them depending on what you do. Obviously, you know the basic ones, ChatGPT, Claude AI, and those are generally tools for having your prompts, idea generation, and all of that. Um, then when it comes to presentations, you want to do a quick presentation, there's Canva, there's the Magic AI that they have now. Then you also have Gamma for generating your presentations, depending on what you do. That for image generation, there's Midjourney, ChatGPT also has that. But there's this new one now that um, it came out first as Nano, I think it was called Nano Bananas, and this is very recent. But we found out that it's actually owned by Google, where you can take 4 or 5 images, whatever it is, and you can literally create a poster out of it, out of a simple prompt. You can have a lady who's on a red dress. So you're for photographers, for example, a lady who's in a red dress sitting on a beach, and you can literally use a prompt to say, I want this lady to be in a blue dress, and I want her to be, as a matter of fact, I want her to be wearing a bikini, and I don't want her in the beach. I want her to be in the office. And with a simple prompt, it looks extremely real, So these technologies are improving and coming up every day. Then when it comes to music, I personally use Suno AI. I can almost say that I literally don't listen to anything else apart from what I generate, at least for the past few months, because I have tons and tons of music. And these songs I'm inspired from different places. Like it could be inspired from an article I've written, an event that I've had. So yeah, maybe one of these days I'll decide to publish some of my songs. But yeah, there's just so much. And when you listen to this thing, to this some of them I put on my LinkedIn post, by the way, you can hardly tell that they are AI generated. So we're getting to a very important, or very should I say, depending on who's looking, but a very fearful point in the history of humanity. Yeah, that's why the ethics is very important. We need to be able to ensure that we have safeguards and guardrails in place. All right, so that would be it for me.
That's amazing that you said that you don't listen to any other music apart from yours. How about nostalgia? I feel like there's a place for nostalgia. In fact, there's a whole market for that because there's just so much new stuff. Technology is just taking everyone away from what we knew, and nostalgia will always have a place in people's hearts. So, for the fact that you don't listen to any old songs, I'm shocked because I mean, I go back to my throwbacks, but that's very interesting.
So again, that's not absolute. Obviously, I'll listen to, but I'm just saying on the general note, most times when I want to play music, I just listen, I just generate it. Like it feels fresh to me. Like it's new, something I haven't heard. And depending on your personality, I'm the kind of person who would love to hear new stuff every time I want to listen. It just makes it easy for me. Now, when it comes to nostalgia, I remember generating a birthday song for someone recently. It was a nostalgic song because it went back to maybe 15 years ago. Um, Thinking about who now, which artist should I talk about? Um, it was almost like an R&B song. So you can think of the Boys to Men back in the day, you know. Yeah, so you can, I mean, it's not like I lose out on nostalgia, but it's not a definite 100%, but most times I listen to AI music.
Okay, one last question and then we'll wrap up. Someone says, is this the end for novelists, authors, and musicians? Good question.
Well, when novelists come in, it's the first of all, I think what AI is going to do to novelists, musicians, is speed up the process for them. So, like I said, if they took 1 year to write a novel, now they can take 2 months or 3 months. That's one thing. Number two is, if you're ready, remember that there's a saying, a very popular saying, that um, a fool with a tool is still a fool. So if you have ChatGPT, and you don't have the headspace to write the kind of stuff that people will connect to, you're going to generate rubbish. You're going to generate stuff that everyone's going to look at and not want to connect to. But if you have someone who already knows what he's doing, which is where the writers come in, they have a sense of what they want. They are unique in what they are crafting in their minds. They're not regurgitating stuff that AI has given to them. Obviously, there's also cultural fit and all of that. Once all those nuances are put in place, I think that artists will still stand out in whatever they generate.
Awesome. Thank you so much. How can people contact you? I
Okay.
put your LinkedIn in the chat, but if there's any other way, please let us know.
Okay, that's the primary way. If you chat me, I definitely we can move it from there. I can give you my personal phone number, my email, and all of that. And
Okay.
from there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again, Maurice, for taking time to educate us today. Thank you everyone for joining. This webinar will be on YouTube from tomorrow, and look forward to our next session next month, which is on retirement planning. We're very excited, but thank you again and have a lovely evening. Bye.
Bye, everyone.